Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Hey Corner Crew podcast. I am your host, JJ Lang. With me, as always, is my co-host. You know him, you love him, Nate, the little goon Foss.
Stop.
Nate still hates the intro. He just won't admit it again. With us today is a very special guest. With us, you may know him from the RET Discord server. If you're not in that already, you may have seen him at men's home games, women's home games, baseball games. Who knows where you might have seen him? We have with us RIT's own resident rulebook reading statistician, Dan the Statman Scully.
Hey,
Clapping
Dan
for
Scully's on
Dan.
the pod.
Dan was also basically sworn to secrecy because he figured out we were doing this months ago, and he was told he could not tell anybody. We practically held him at gunpoint for a while, but now he can talk about it because he's here, so woohoo. Dan, just in case anybody for some reason doesn't know who you are, if you could just tell everybody a little quick bit about yourself, just so people kind of are familiar with what you do.
So I work for the athletic communications department, and I'm one of their statisticians. As JJ said, I'm known to tote rule books around. Sometimes they come in handier than you might think. Yeah, that's about it. I've also written for the last couple of years on another friend of the three of us, Tommy Kane's blog for the women's team.
Which is exactly why Dan is here today, because we are going to be discussing the upcoming women's season. Their season starts, officially it starts October 7th. Well, no, they have a game before that, don't they?
They have 2 series before that.
So their first official home game is October 7th, but there is an exhibition game on September the 17th against PSU. So that's why we're doing this now. We're doing a really kind of in-depth RET women's hockey season preview. And for Dan, he's like he said, he's written a lot of stuff about the women's team, so it made perfect sense to have Dan on to help us go over that. So just to start things off, let's go over some real quick things for the past season. The RIT women's hockey team, their record last season was 2-27-4, counting the playoffs. They finished the standings in 5th place, and for their playoff run, they defeated Lindenwood 6-4 in the quarterfinals before losing to Syracuse in the semifinals in an overtime matchup that ended in 3-2, which many of you may remember was a pretty big game because we streamed it in Discord. I don't care that the NCAA or everybody might hear about that, it doesn't matter to me. And there was a lot of people in there watching, and that was pretty cool. The team's leading scorer also was Emma Rowland, who was 9-9-18. So, pretty big right there. I think the glaring stat off the bat is the team's record, which I guess we can talk about that first, and kind of how they went out throughout the season, before we get into some other specifics. Anybody can start.
Yeah. We're fans. We're passionate fans, but we're also honest fans. It can't get much worse.
No.
This year, it was nice to see it kind of come together at the end. And, I mean, it's not like they weren't in games the whole way through.
They didn't get destroyed. They were competitive.
Couple 1-2 goal losses. I mean, how many games were tied going into the third period?
Too many.
Too many.
I don't have the stat in front of me, but it was a lot.
There was a lot.
I walked out of GPC way too many times thinking that was the one.
And thank God senior night was the first one where the streak finally got snapped. That was fun.
I thought Dan Scully was going to jump out of the press box.
I don't typically use the express elevator.
Yes. We do also have to bring up that all three of us were present at Syracuse for the Lindenwood win in the quarterfinals. All three of us were there watching that game, and that was a great game.
That was the most fun I've had of the women's game.
That was one of my favorite games from last year, period.
Fun, quick story. Tennedy Ice Pavilion is absolutely horrible.
It stinks.
Syracuse's home rink. The scoreboard is like from the 60s. But I looked at Dan Scully. I said, this scoreboard is ugly. And when we scored to make it 6-2, this guy looks at me and he goes, Nate, that scoreboard's looking a lot better right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I said, yeah, I kind of like it.
I don't think...
Dan Scully's one corner crew appearance. There needs to be more.
There will be more. We know for a fact.
There better be more.
I was at Syracuse for the semifinal too. You guys just couldn't make it.
Okay, Mister, I live in Syracuse.
In our defense,
20 minutes
we did
away.
get stuck in a snowstorm and couldn't get there, and that's why we were streaming it. So there is that. But yes, you were there for the
and it was
semifinals.
also a noon game.
Yeah, that was brutal.
On a Friday.
That was not. Whoever scheduled the women's games should just be fired, because stop putting the games at like noon or 1 o'clock. Nobody can get there. Everybody's in class. And Nate, don't you dare tell people to skip class again like you did last
class.
week. No, don't do that.
Skip class.
Don't do that.
Thank you, Dan. But I mean, obviously the
Hockey's
record.
more important there.
The team's record last year was rough. They were 2-27, but they beat Lindenwood twice, so you got to give them that. Do I think their record's going to be like that again this year? Absolutely not. They're going to be a lot better this year. I think they're going to be really good, honest to God. I think what we have in place to be successful.
And you look at it, they had 13 newcomers last year, 12 freshmen and transfer.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's another big part of it. Like the competition from high school or prep school, whatever the girls were playing, into Division I college hockey. Like, let's be honest, they have the pro leagues for women's hockey, but college hockey probably is the highest level on the women's side of the sport.
Yep.
So it's a big transition, and CHA, it's a tough league. Anybody can beat anybody in this league, and I mean, they started off with Colgate, who was a national championship contender going into this year. That was brutal, and then a bunch of good teams all the way down the schedule. They did not have an easy game, at all last year.
No,
but I think a lot of teams walked out of games against us saying, "Wow, that was not as easy as we thought it was going to be."
Yeah.
Which you can take pride in that. I mean, and now you have a full year under your belt. You know what to expect this year.
I'm also going to say,
it can only go uphill.
Nobody thought we were going to get as far as we did in the playoffs. I think everybody, even probably some people on our IT, thought we were going to go in there and just get beat and be done. And then Abby Davies had a freaking hat trick. 3 goals carried us to win that game, and then they went to overtime against Syracuse, who ended up winning the title. It's like they didn't go down easy. Like they fought. They were
one shot away from going to the championship game, and they would have played Mercyhurst, who they played pretty well all year.
Well against them.
Well, and I think a lot of the other teams didn't think about, just because the record was, quite frankly, ugly at the beginning of the season, didn't mean that the team didn't improve. Anyone that was at GPC regularly saw that they got better every game.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it was there. The chances were there all year.
This wasn't a team that just rolled over and died. Like they were in it. They never once were like, you know what, forget it, we're done. Like, we're not going to do it. No, they fought. They kept going. Like, and you got to give them credit for that. Like, I think a lot of people, like, playing on a team where you don't win a game for that long would have just thrown in the towel and been done. All right, better luck next year. These girls didn't do that. They kept fighting, and you got to give them credit for that. Like, 100%. They were a tough team to play against.
Well, the tie at home against Penn State, Abby Davies scored with less than 16 seconds left.
We were at that game was awesome. Oh my God.
I can't believe I missed that one.
I remember that was the game where the men's team had a game afterwards, and they came out and were sitting behind us watching. And I'm like, because Tommy Kane is sitting there looking at me going, dude, we got to get them down here. And I'm like, there's no shot they're coming down. But like they were with us. Like, that was a great game to be at, just to cheer them on. So going into some more details, there were some graduates that we did lose this year. Abby Davies, Jordan Marchese, Taylor Sims. That's a hit. Like, no matter where you look at it, that's a hit losing them. I think Jordan especially, because she was a real leader for that team. I think
that's what I was going to say. I think you lose a lot of leadership in those three.
All three of them are leaders.
All 3 of them could have worn the C for the team, I think. And
definitely.
I know Celeste gave it to Jordan, but I think Abby and Taylor especially could have. All 3 of them could have had C's on their jerseys.
Yeah, absolutely, they could have.
I think they all led by example, which was, especially someone like Taylor Sims, who had 1 point all year, but she had 104 block shots. That's leading by example. And That's what you have to do
second in
to
the
try and win
nation.
hockey games.
I mean, you can't replace 104 blocks. That's hard.
No, considering
the other departing
nobody else was really even close.
We had 2 other departing players. Taylor Leota. She went transfer portal, right? Yeah, that's where she ended up.
Right. I think she
Did
ended
she
up
sign
at
anywhere?
a Canadian university.
Oh, where did she go, Dan?
Queens, I think.
Oh, so New York City then?
No, Canada.
Someplace in Canada.
I'm sorry. And then Zoe, is it
Lori?
Lori, okay, because I don't want to pronounce her name wrong on accident. So those 2 also left. Taylor was pretty good. She was a very good goalie. I mean, I know Sarah Coe gets a lot of the credit because she was putting up numbers last year, but Taylor was a very valuable member of the team, so losing her is good. I mean, she's going to be tough to replace also.
Well, Leota set the Division I era record for saves in a game when they took the trip up to Minnesota. She made 65 saves.
She played fantastic.
The previous D1 era record for us was Allie Binnington in double overtime in CHA tournament.
Yeah.
Leota did it in a regulation length game.
Which is insane.
So
that was against a national championship contender.
Yeah.
Right.
That game could have easily been 18-19-0.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could have been an absolute slaughter.
Half those girls are going to play for their national teams in the future. It's kind of crazy. And she was unbelievable. I just remember I saw the score and then I saw the stats and it was. I think you lose that that safety net behind Sarah, but I mean it's time for Emma Steffen to step up and fill that role.
Yeah.
I mean,
next man up, or next woman up in this case.
There you go.
But I mean, the 3 seniors we lost. That's brutal. I mean, Abby won. She was the fans' choice player for last season. I can't remember a game where she didn't absolutely obliterate someone into a wall. Like, I voted for her because of that. I'm like, I am a very much big proponent of the women's players should be allowed to check people. I think everybody should. I know Dan might not 100% agree with me on that. I've been debating them.
There's argument on both sides. We can have that debate another day.
I'm all for checking.
I could go into that debate for an hour, which we don't have that hour.
Yeah,
no.
So. But Dan pulled up an interesting stat before when we were getting started. Like, if you want to bring up the penalty stat.
I think that was Nate.
Well, no, Nate did. Sorry, the
that she led the team in penalty minutes.
But the other thing about misconducts and minors.
Oh yeah, that was the fact that we didn't commit a single major penalty. The 10-minute misconduct or game misconduct is rare in hockey. So I mean, the team was disciplined in other areas, but I mean, they did take 129 penalties last year, which is
it's brutal. It's
something else we can go over. But
and some of that's from just you get sloppy when you get tired, and when you're defending as long as they were last season, and any given,
they were. And I think that's where like you get tired, and then you put teams on the power play and they score those goals in the third period, and the game gets away from you.
Yeah,
it's not. You can't be taking penalties in the third period, which I also think that's another thing. This team's coming in probably better condition because they maybe necessarily didn't have a real off season last year. Mm-hmm. Versus this year, we're returning pretty much the entire roster.
Minus like 4 or 5.
4 or 5. So they know what to expect. They know what Celeste expects coming in, and
yeah, it's nuts. Returning players. Let's talk about that real quick. I think Emma Rowland is the standout. I mean, she obviously led the team in goals last year, which is fantastic. But she was a force to be reckoned with out there. Like, she had a fantastic season.
She's probably the team MVP favorite coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think she's going to fill the scorer's role that it's being left by Abby Davies graduating. Mm-hmm. I mean, she already nearly did. Abby had 11 goals, and Emma had more points. So,
Another
It's
big
tough when your leading point getter only has 18 though. That pretty much. If you didn't even look at the record, you could look at that and say that this team probably didn't win a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you got outscored last year almost 3-1,
which is
rough. It's not
the other
good.
the other big returner I think we can't not pass up is Sarah Coe. She obviously dominated in net, in goal. She was insane. Obviously, there was some stat the AHA was posting about. She had like career saves. Like, she's a freshman, she's already like top 5 in out of active goalies in AHA for career saves right now, which is super impressive.
Yeah, she's third with 879. Is that what we said?
I think it was.
That's what I got.
And
that's not
all the other goalies surrounding her on the list are like they've been around for 3 or 4 years
Ariel
already.
DeSmet,
who is going to be back at Syracuse and is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. I mean, she was terrifying to go up against. But like, we play Syracuse, and I'd sit there like, you're scared that we got, you were scared that you get people like that, like an Ariel DeSmet in there, and then you sit there and deal with like the fact that they have a killer offense. But you look at us and you're like, but we've got Sarah Coe. Like we're fine. Like, in net we're good. Goalie's always a spot where people get freaked out really quickly. But it's not like we have a strong goaltender. I would have liked to see Leota stay because she's a nice safety net, but Sarah Coe is more than capable of maintaining her role as like the brick wall that she became.
And I think, some of her stats are hard to look at just because you can't face that many shots and not let a bunch in.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would probably say, a lot of people looked at me funny last year when I said the defense isn't bad.
No,
it was the breakout. The breakout they couldn't, by the time they got the puck out, they had to dump and change, and the opponents were coming on another rush.
Like, you're putting players kind of got
stuck in
half
a rut.
tank of steam in them. Like, it's like you can't expect people that are like, half charged to go out there and play A+ effort all day long. It's impossible, especially with hockey, with the amount of movement and concentration your body goes through to like stay balanced and move around. It's tough. But then any other returners that you guys want to talk about? Those were the 2 ones that I wanted to bring up for sure.
I think Athena Donnie. She showed glimpses last year that she could be that Abby Davies player. I mean, she 5 goals, 8 assists. She was third on the team in points with 13. I don't think she scored
cannon of a shot.
I don't think she scored an ugly goal. Her 5 goals, I don't think any of them were ugly goals. So it's nice to see. I think Mia Silamos is another one.
I was going to bring her up, actually. I almost forgot about her.
She's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, she was
all over the ice last year, and not in a bad way.
Fourth in the nation in blocks as a sophomore.
Yeah, that's insane.
What?
But Dan, how many?
What sophomore's going out there blocking 85 shots?
Exactly. That's
right.
Like
you don't see that often. It's usually the seniors, the leaders on a team, leading by example. And I mean, she did as a sophomore. I would not be surprised if she had a letter this year on her jersey, whether it's an A or a C.
And to bring back, I forget who made the point about the defense. Dan's put about the defense not being bad. You got Taylor Sims had 104 blocked shots. Mila Silamos has 85. That's impressive. That's not bad defense. That's good defense, no matter which way you look at it.
And I think one other returner to look at too is Kylie Aquaro. I think she's going to end up being the playmaker that helps get Vastani and Roland goals.
She could be the assist machine.
Exactly.
I got one more, Jamie Nolan. She only played in 10 games last year, but in the 10 games she was in, she made a difference.
She was injured most of the year, wasn't she?
She was out. She was out for most of the year.
Yeah. She had a really, really good freshman year right before the pandemic.
Yeah, she did.
Really well.
So it's kind of it was tough to see her out of the lineup a lot last year, but hopefully she bounces back this year. Has another solid campaign and helps the team win. Honestly, at this point, like the pieces are there. I think the experience is now there. I think the pieces are there. They've had it's rare when a young team has playoff success.
After losing so many games that they did during the season.
Right. So you got to think like this team knows how to win, and they know how to win those tight games. I will tell you what, that the first win on senior night was I think Lindenwood had the puck for most of the third period.
I'm still so incredibly
they know how to,
mad.
They learned how to close out a game, and we'll see. I think the pieces are there to maybe have a better year, and who knows? Like I said earlier, anybody in the CHA can beat anybody. So, it'll be good.
All right, so switching over to newcomers now because we got a bunch of transfers and we did get some new incoming freshmen. Obviously, we got Amy Dobson over from Penn State. That was probably the most notable one.
Yeah, she's 11 points last year, 2 goals, played for Celeste her freshman year.
So definitely probably why
Celeste
she came
was
over.
At Penn State, so that's could be part of it. Maybe she enjoyed playing for Celeste. Who knows? Maybe it seems like she didn't get a lot of opportunity last year for the Nittany Lions over there. So maybe depending on where she fills in the lineup here, she could be a good addition to the team.
And it'll be an interesting.
Good to have a veteran too.
Yes, and it'll be an interesting. It'll be an interesting start seeing her her first game as a Tiger be against Penn State on the 17th. That will be. I don't want to say a revenge tour because it's not, but like we're gonna label it a revenge tour for fun.
We're labeling it a revenge tour
because Corner Crew is biased.
Yes. What biased?
No, never.
No, what?
What are you talking about, Dan? Aren't you one of us?
I did. I'm your eye in the sky.
That's right. Dan is the eye in the sky. From the press box, Dan sees all. Well, your face, Nate, you went from smiling to just straight face in like 2 seconds. I don't know why. That's a weird side tangent. The incoming freshmen. Obviously, I know, Nate, you had a problem finding stats for them.
Prep schools need to put out stats.
This dude looked for like an hour, couldn't find anything. Yes,
I mean, at least starting with the forwards, Lexi Sung from the Washington Pride out of DC, she had 66 points in 61 games. So, and 47 of those were assists. So she's another one of those playmakers to kind of go along with Kylie. Maybe she's a feeder. She could feed the puck. And
I mean, can you imagine how many points someone like an Emma Rowland will end up with people like that just dumping stuff their way the whole game?
Oh, can't wait.
Point
they
machine.
Gotta connect on the passes though.
Obviously, but still, if she can do that.
That was one of my bigger pet peeves from the team last year. But
I mean, if she can have 66 points in 61 games, like I'll take that all day long. Anybody else of note? I mean, we obviously have a new goalie coming in to fill the void that's being left by Taylor Leota.
Sophia Bolina from Culver Academy, a pretty prestigious prep school here in the U.S. 32 games played, a 1.96 goals against, and a 9.36 save percentage, which, if you understand goalie stats at all, that's absolutely insanity.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's pretty good. So, who knows? I mean, it's a totally different game from who she was playing against at prep school to Division I college hockey. Who knows? Sometimes those numbers don't always transfer over. It'd be nice if they would.
That's fair.
That way we got a pretty good 1-2 punch between the pipes, between Sarah and Sophia.
Mm-hmm. So. Or Emma Stephen. Who knows? Or Emma Stephen. Sorry. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? I think going into camp, it's one of those years where it's Sarah's net to lose.
Yeah.
I think everybody knows she's the starter coming in, but if she has a rough camp, who knows? It could be.
You never know what'll happen.
I'm sure we'll see all three of them on the 17th. And
oh yeah,
honestly, I'm sure all three will get a game at the start of the year. There's 6, 8, 10 non-conference games before our first conference game. And
you just mix them in.
that's a lot.
Give them some experience.
It's a lot of opportunity for the girls to step up.
Ice time is never a bad thing.
Nope.
And I can't let the goalies go by without mentioning Emma had a 6 set of pads before this year.
Oh my god!
I don't know if you guys have seen the
yes,
new ones.
we did.
They are amazing.
Those are
put them on the
sick.
Instagram story. Those are the brick wall. Not even the fact that RIT is full of bricks. Just the goalie aspect of it is sick. But then add in the bricks for campus, it's absolutely.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna make a lot of people mad. I don't care what Tommy Scarfoni's gear looks like this year. Sarah Coe has the app. Was it? No, I'm sorry. Emma has the best looking pads out of anyone on both teams. I don't care what anyone says. She has the best goalie pads. Period.
I will say, I've seen a lot of pads at RIT. I've been around a long time, and those are the best I've ever seen.
Shout out to Emma for having those done, because those are like the only way any other goalie could like beat that, in my opinion, is if you put my head on one of them. The only way I will like them more is if my face ends up on one of your pads, which is weird. So don't do that. Just don't do that. Put the Corner Crew logo somewhere on your helmet. That would be sick. I would love that more than that. But like the brick wall pads, oh my god, that was insane.
Some of the Penn State goalies put their student section logo on the back of the mask. So I need to any of the RAT goalies who could possibly listen to this, if you could put which way am I going?
Why don't you duck?
If you could put
just
this
duck
on your logo, on your helmet, that'd be sweet. We would very much appreciate that.
Max could whip something up, I bet.
There we go.
So moving on now to the schedule. Let's talk. Nate, we already kind of touched on a little bit. There's what you said. You said there's 10 non-conference games before we have a first conference. That's a lot. 8
of them on the road, though.
Can I also just say,
that's not a bad thing, though. I mean, it gets the team together.
Yeah.
Relatively early. Obviously, they see each other every day, but you know, between class and living situation, you're not all together all at once. I think on the road, I mean, they probably leave Thursday. So they're on the bus Thursday. They're in the hotel. They're at the rink. And then they're pretty much on the bus, at the hotel, and at the rink while they're on the road. Right. So
I'm also going to say
it's not necessarily a bad thing, but
I'm also going to say a quick blunt statement. Our schedule sucks this year.
2/3 of our games are away.
That's garbage.
Some of that's payback for how many non-con games we had at home last year.
That's
we were spoiled last year, and it's the same way with the men's schedule this year. We have a lot of home games.
19 home games
this year. So
that's a lot.
It kind of makes up for it. I'd rather have it be a little more balanced. But
now let's talk about schedule-wise.
It's only 11 home games. It's something like that.
Schedule-wise, let's talk about some notable games that I think are going to be big, especially on Corner Crew side of things, that we're all looking forward to.
No, we're keeping the one a secret.
We talked about it before in the last episode, though.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
Yes, you did.
I brought it up, and you were like, "Yeah, let's go!" And you brought it. You were cheering, and I'm hyping it.
The one in December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We talked about it.
Well, all right, we'll mention it then.
So there is a game October 27th at Tennedy at Syracuse. At the Tennedy
Thursday night.
Why
Thursday
is it a
night
Thursday?
hockey in Syracuse.
I don't know.
Let's go.
We're going to that. That's a quick one. That's like what, hour and a half, 2 hour drive.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
With me driving, we'll get there in an hour.
Maybe 2 if you're
Have you gone through downtown Syracuse on the 690 interchange? It's going to be an hour and a half.
I mean, unless you're like
That's why we're not going that way.
Like 2 or 3, which at that point it's just you.
And go another 10 miles out of your way, Nate.
Hey, I know where I'm going.
I know better than you.
Listen,
you can't tell I'm from the Syracuse area.
Hey.
In fact, I've got... Where is it? Back here is a piece of the old Carrier Dome roof I have hanging on the wall.
Oh, that is sick. Now I'm going to find your house and steal it. No, I'm just kidding. But the other, I think, away games, there's that one. Obviously, that's an easy one to get to. The other one...
Same thing on January 27th, too.
Oh,
Yep.
At Kennedy.
There is another one.
There's no men's game that night at GPC, so
We're
that
all
could
there.
be a trip. There's no Dan Scully's coming to that one.
Dan's coming to this next one.
He's coming to both of them.
Dan's coming to this third one too, because Dan and I have kind of nicknamed this mega trip. So December the 3rd is probably going to be the single greatest day in the history of Corner Crew traveling. And ECH, if you're watching this, you better prep your Instagram story, because we're going to be on it multiple times. There is a women's game at Mercyhurst at 2:00 p.m. that Saturday. October the 3rd. Later that night...
December
3rd. Sorry, December 3rd is when that game is. On that same Saturday, at 7:00 p.m., the men's team is taking on Canisius, which means we as a collective Corner Crew are taking a squad, a big group, down to Mercyhurst to watch the women's team play, and then going back up an hour and a half to Canisius to watch the men at the Harbor Center. Dan Scully will be there.
It's on the way home.
On the way home.
I will be there if I'm not needed for basketball.
Which we're going to make sure you're not needed
you
for basketball by finding someone to fill in for you.
We're kidnapping you.
We're going to kidnap Dan Scully. Dan Scully might go
I'm
missing.
tying you up and putting you in the trunk.
With the whiteboards and the letters.
Yeah.
But that game at Mercyhurst is going to be awesome, because one of the things I know that Nate and I were kind of bummed about last year was the fact that there really weren't any away games for the women's team that we could get to without skipping home games for the men, which stunk a lot.
Which we try to avoid skipping home games for either team.
Yes.
Because
we really
that's, it's kind of sucky. But
it would be crappy for us to drive 3 hours to watch the women play if the men are at home. Like, obviously, we're home. We should give them
vice
support.
versa.
And vice versa, of course. We shouldn't be skipping women's home games to go away to the men. But those games, at least in my opinion, those are the three standouts. Those three away games, because those are going to be like just awesome trips where we're going to take over those three arenas. Like, I'm confident in saying we will take over Syracuse twice easily, and we will end up taking over Mercyhurst as well. I really don't see those games being a situation where we're getting like out yelled by fans. Like, there's no way that'll happen.
Another big thing on the schedule too is we have a lot of away games at the start of the year, but
February,
half of our home games, 6 of our last 9 games are at home, which
that's huge.
Is big, especially if say the standings are really close and you're playing for seeding at that point in the playoffs. I mean, it could be that makes a difference. It's made a difference in the past. It can make a difference this year as well. So home cooking is usually pretty good at RIT. So hopefully,
I'd rather have a ton of games at the end of the season to just kind of help your playoff placement, especially if you get some home games you can get in front of the home crowd to help give you some boosts. That's
and one of those 9 games is at Syracuse. So
effectively,
realistically,
8 home games.
Essentially, 7 of our last 9 are at home.
Yeah,
because we're going to take over Kennedy, that garbage dump.
Dan hates when we trash talk Kennedy, but I don't know how it's.
He's a Syracuse guy. That's why.
I don't know how it's still a D1 rank. Like, the MCC Iceplex is nicer than that place.
And that's a discussion for another day.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have multiple opinions on that.
Although, speaking of Kennedy real quick, we did make friends with the Zamboni driver over there, who is one of the nicest guys we've ever met in our lives. And he came over and talked to us and was, like, rooting for us in the Lindenwood game because he loved our energy.
I think he's an alum.
I think he is. I think he's in our.
He was at GPC during the Sacred Heart series.
Yeah,
yeah. He and I go back and forth on Instagram every once in a while.
He was a great dude. I loved getting to see him again will be a highlight too because he's just a fun dude.
The bright neon shoes and the suit.
Oh my god, that was
the highlight of the night.
That was the best. I mean, minus winning that game, but that was the number 2 highlight on that list. Does anybody else have any other games that they think of note or important or big we should talk about? Dan, anybody else?
It's a little longer trip, but I think JJ and I are both planning on going up to St. Lawrence in November.
Because I got a friend who plays on the Canton softball team that I could stay with to go watch that. So Dan and I I don't know if I'll be able to make that happen because I might be going to Las Vegas to watch the Raiders. But if I'm able to, I'll go up. I might go up for that one, most likely.
And I live like halfway in between SLU and Rochester. So and the other thing to bring up is a lot of these away games, if you've got ESPN Plus, you'll be able to watch from home.
You will. Because a lot of these non-conference games are ECAC, so you'll be able to get a lot of them on there. Right, ECAC is what it is, right? And hockey.
ECAC and hockey.
Yeah, both of them. Which I'd love for us to get ESPN Plus, but that's probably not going to happen.
I've got an ESPN Plus subscription.
Oh, I'm not talking about the subscription. I'm talking about having Atlantic and ACA or CHA actually have. I'm not. I have ESPN Plus too. I think all three of us have it.
Wait, you got Plus too? Where do I get that?
Oh my god.
I got one more game. The Tuesday night St. Lawrence games need to stop.
Yeah, can we not have any more Tuesday games?
I'm so over that.
Okay, listen.
That was absolute. There was nobody there.
Listen, I have a love.
Okay, the last one was literally 2 days before Thanksgiving. That's why nobody was there.
Listen,
this time it's in January.
Listen, I have a love-hate relationship with those games because on the one hand, they suck. They're on a Tuesday. That's garbage. On the other hand, though, that means no one will be there. So we can do mobile
hear every word I
the other side.
Can hear every single word I said.
Games.
We can just get up and move everyone over.
The best is when Nate comes down underneath the press box and yells up to me. That's happened a couple times.
Listen,
even though the rink is so empty those nights, I could yell from the corner and you would hear me.
Yeah.
You probably could. Listen, but
I don't know if you hear me, but every time they say your name, I yell, yeah. Every time Rocky introduces you, I yell, yeah, Dan Scully.
Yeah, there's enough of you that do that I can hear it just about every night.
Listen, all I know is that for people who haven't seen it, Mobile Corridor Crew is great. We only ever do it at home. We only ever do it at home and we only ever do it on like Tuesdays when it's dead. The first time I ever had it was what game? Oh my god, it was my freshman year. And it was me and Kaz, who will probably be down here at some point. We were sitting together down with the corner crew. We all got up and moved. I forget.
It was a Tuesday night against Canisius.
Yes.
Yep. That's what it was.
We went out there, and I think the goalie's name was Joey. And he skated out of the locker room, and he sees us. And Andy, the old guy that used to kind of be the head loudmouth dude, just goes, "You thought you could get away from us, Joey? Here we are." And you just watched the guy just start muttering expletives under his breath because he was like, "Oh my god, they moved to the other corner. No way."
It's my favorite part.
He was so mad. But those games are great because like, there's nobody
get a break
there,
for a period.
Like those Tuesday games kind of stink, but also because you can move to the other side and just start being all kinds of chaotic on the other end. But anything else schedule wise that you want to bring? I think Nate, you said that was the St. Lawrence one at home was the one you want to talk about, really?
Yeah, it's a Tuesday and I hate it.
Yeah, that's kind of stupid.
Probably the one last thing we should mention is the CHA's changed the playoff format.
Yes.
Again, I guess. Only the top 4 teams will make it this year, so whoever finishes last is out.
So that makes those games at the end of the year even more
very important.
Semis will be best of 3 series at the higher seeds, and then championship game will be a single game at the higher seed.
Which I think
at GPC.
Which because Nate and I went through and did the math on that, and we were like, there could be weekends towards the end of the men's season, because I mean, obviously the women's season ends before the men's does. Their playoffs are while the men are still playing their regular season.
The CHA championship could be the quarterfinals of Atlantic hockey,
which is nuts.
So that sucks.
I mean,
we'll have to figure that one out.
I'm not even thinking if it's away. I'm thinking if it's home. That could be insane.
That'd be fun.
CHA championship, and then turn it over, and we got the Atlantic quarterfinals right off the bat.
See, I'm very confident in this team, but I'm going to be honest. I don't think the championship game will be at GPC.
I mean,
Prove me wrong.
I don't think it'll happen. It's hockey.
Prove me wrong, ladies. Prove me wrong.
Use that as fuel.
Yes.
Yep.
Use Nate doubting you
screen
as fuel.
record that. Screen record that and put it on the TV in the locker room every game.
Zoom in on his
Please,
face,
I'm
too.
begging you to do that.
No, what you have to do is do what the guys in Major League did and just make a cutout of them that you can, like, punch or something every time you win a game. You're like, yeah, take that, Nate Foss.
Hey,
bring it right out to the corner when you skate out for the salute.
Hey, if they're winning hockey games, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, they're entitled to that.
Sacrifice for the good of the team.
Keys of the season. What do we? I think get the penalty minutes down. That's the big one. I mean, Abby spent about half her career for this past senior season in the box because she just liked to, turn people into Swiss cheese against the wall. But
yeah, but they deserved it.
That's one of the greatest things Dan Scully's ever said.
I was not expecting you to say that, Dan.
I love it.
Well, you obviously don't remember that one of my 3 favorite players of all time is Abby Davies.
Yes. Listen, man, there's a reason she won the Vans choice, because she was an offensive powerhouse, and she just was like, you know what? Forget the whole no check-in rule. I'm going to just start bodying people. Get the penalty minutes down, I think. Ending on a high note, like, you got to be able to finish games. Because like Nate said, there was so many games where we went in the third period tied or, like, up by 1 or something, and they just couldn't hold on. And I think our record would have been much different had many of those games ended in our favor. Much, much different. Like, it would have been...
Definitely.
It would have been amazing. I'm not talking like 5 or 6. I'm talking like maybe 10. Like, it would have been a lot more.
And I think, this is going to sound obvious on the surface, but they've got to score more.
Yeah.
They only averaged about 1.5 goals a game last year. And I don't think they necessarily need to focus on, taking better shots and stuff like that. When they had puck possession, they were already doing that.
Yeah.
They need puck possession. They need offensive zone time. The goals will come. They have the scorers.
I mean, there's an issue when
I feel like too many times too, they didn't shoot enough.
They just passed.
They were trying to find the perfect shot, and it's hockey. Throw the puck on net and see what happens. If you don't have the puck, go to the front of the net. Go hang out in the corner. Obviously, I'm not sure the defenseman, but if you're the other 2 forwards, go to the net. Get traffic in front.
I'll also
just
add
get a stick on the puck. It could go in.
To that point, there was so many possessions where you'd see us like we're on offense and they're just kind of moving around. They're trying to set things up and they're just kind of making these quick little like dump passes. And like, for me, I'm sitting there now. Obviously, this is a different sport, but like my middle school basketball coach was pass it or shoot it, shoot it or pass it. Don't sit there and set stuff up. Shoot it. Just start taking shots. If you can't set things up, forget it. Just start chucking stuff. Something will fall in. Like, even if you get like a crazy shot that deflects off somebody and like it's just utter chaos, that's better than nothing. I'd rather that than you just hang around and hope to God you can set up a perfect play, because it's not going to always happen.
Well, and if you've got somebody in front of the net, one of the plays that they made work a few times last year was either intentionally shooting wide or otherwise passing it off the backboard right back out in front.
Yeah. And
scoring on almost a surprise play. That doesn't work if you don't have somebody on top of the blue paint.
I'll also say that, to piggyback off the point that Dan said, they spend so much time. Like, when we're watching a game from Section 118 in the Corner Crew, the fact that we saw them on defense so much was insane. Like, and then when the sides switch and you got now Sarah's on our end, we barely ever saw them at all because they're always on the other side playing D and trying to get the puck back. And it's like, that's something that's got to change. But I'm fairly confident that it's going to.
You got to score on the power play too. The 12% isn't horrible, but you got to cap. Even if you don't get the opportunities, you got to score when you're up.
Agreed.
They also gave up a bunch of shorthanded goals too last year, and can't do that either.
That goes right back to the puck possession point. They didn't. They weren't.
I mean,
able to hold the puck.
how many true power plays did we have? Like, I remember there's a couple that I remember. We spent our entire power play on the other end.
Yep, playing defense.
You
can't.
And
that comes with time.
One of the
comes
things
with learning the system. It comes with coaching experience. As long as Celeste doesn't go changing everything up on everybody this year, I think it'll be.
I think is going to be
better.
Big key to this team winning. I think she's a fantastic coach. I think she's a player's coach, and I think she's the key to like bringing this unit together and turning them into an unstoppable force that can go out and just kick people in the face all day long and make them look bad.
And I can't believe we got this far without mentioning it. Scholarships.
Oh yeah, that's another big one.
Oh yeah.
So we more people in.
The scholarship aspect, I said it right from the start. I think it helps the women's program more than the men's.
Yep.
Because in women's hockey, there's less teams, but are you going to pay to go to RIT or are you going to go to Penn State for free? RIT, now that leveling, the playing field's level now. RIT, I've said it has the facility, they have the backing of the school, they have the education, they have the community support. Why not?
Scholarships was the last thing.
Send me out on the recruiting trail. Why wouldn't you want to go to RIT?
Well, and to that same point, because there aren't nearly as many professional opportunities in women's hockey, you're much less likely to pony up the money to go to RIT.
Yeah.
If you can go someplace else for free, because at the end of the day, even if you do go pro, you're probably still going to be working a day job when you're not on the ice.
Yep. I mean,
which is where the education aspect comes into. Like that could be the difference. Like if you look at, not that I'm using Penn State as an example just because they're the one team on my mind, but not that they have a bad education at Penn State. I'm sure it's I know people that go there. It's a great school, whatever. But facility quality is probably
it's not better than ours.
Equal. It's the same. I've been to Pagula. It's really nice.
I was going to say that was a bad example.
The facility. The facility. All right, so then let's go Mercyhurst.
Okay.
We've all been to that rink. It's a dump. And why would you?
At least it's got heaters.
I think what we've established the last few weeks is that Nate thinks that every single arena that's not ours is an absolute dump, except for Pagula.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Well, he's a Sabres fan. I can't imagine why he likes something with a Pagula name on it. I'm a Sabres fan too, by the way.
Oh.
Hey,
I'm going to stay silent on that one because you guys are just going at me.
But, yeah, I mean, this year could be.
Let's also look at the
it can't, like I said in the beginning, it can't get much worse. So
and also, our conference is 5 teams. As long as you're not dead last, you got a good shot. Because all you got to do is beat 2 teams and you win the title. And
right.
They almost did it last year.
I think the semifinal setup kind of sucks now. But
I like the 3 series. I'd
single elimination. I don't know.
It all depends on if you're looking from the bottom or the top. Syracuse probably likes the fact that it's a 2-game series.
Because then
I think
they don't run into that
conference again.
They don't run into we're in overtime and in a single elimination against RIT. If they put one puck in the net, we're done.
Yeah, but you got to think if they played that well against them.
Because I'll be honest, I don't think they get into the tournament without the auto bid. So their season's probably over if they lose that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that it's a series, you have a game to give, essentially. And I've seen it so much in college hockey where the lower seed wins game 1, and then the upper seed says, oh my God, we actually got play, wins the rest of the series. So
I still think it's wild that, I mean, the one takeaway I'm taking from, like, I was talking about the playoff schedule is the fact that, like, we legitimately are basing all of our thoughts around this on Syracuse because they're just that good. That's the thing.
They're the team to beat. They won the conference for a
I'm
reason.
literally not scared of any team in our conference except for them. I'm serious.
Well,
I'm not afraid of
returning
Mercy Hurst. I'm not afraid of Lindenwood at all.
They'll be interesting though because they have a new coach.
Exactly.
So who knows?
That could that could throw them on a whack so hard. But it could also be another thing where the
Penn State's an older team. They've got experience. Mercyhurst is an older team. They've got experience.
True.
Lindenwood's kind of. I think Lindenwood's kind of in the same boat as us. They had a younger team, but they're. Yeah.
To be fair, Syracuse's new coach was an assistant at Clarkson when they coached. Not going to think of her name off the top of my head, but Patty Caz winner.
Championships.
Yeah, multiple national championships, and it.
Who knows?
Who knows? Anything can happen.
Especially in a season as long as this one.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank very much Dan Scully for coming on and spending some time with us to talk about this stuff. This is not the last time you will see Dan Scully. We definitely had some fun stuff planned for him in the future. Not. Of which he is like both equally excited and terrified about because he doesn't know what any of it is. But all he knows is this is great, but also like, oh my God, what in the world do you have planned for me?
Equal amounts of terrified and excited.
Exactly.
There we go.
It'll be great. The next time you see us, it'll be after the first women's game. It's their first exhibition. It'll be after that.
We'll be previewing actual games.
I know it'll be great. I'm
so excited.
We'll be doing our season. We'll be doing our weekend review afterwards. That'll be our first weekend review. Is after that PSU game. I'm excited for that. Expect to probably see Dan back in some capacity for that. I'm not going to say what, but he may be around for that episode.
Hopefully we'll have, still waiting to hear back from Sports Info, but
yes,
hopefully we'll have a player on as well.
I'm hoping we can get some people
to talk about it. Or
yeah, Dan, help us out with that.
Yeah, Dan, tell Tim to check his email.
I love the
Should
fact
I
that
send
Tim's
him an email?
See this episode and be like, these guys are like harassing my athletic staff to try to get me on here, and now he's gonna be like, you know what? No, I'm good. But yeah, thank you everybody again for tuning in. If you have not checked the description for Instagram links, Twitter links, do we still even use Facebook or not really? It's still there.
We're gonna get better at it.
Hopefully.
This year. I actually have the password now, so.
Oh, you didn't before. I knew
hopefully,
that.
Hopefully we'll be better now.
Discord, if you're not in there, it's links in the Instagram. Go into that, join on. It's fun in there. We all talk.
Again, don't forget it's not too late to get your season tickets. RATtickets.com, GPC box office.
Homecoming tickets are still on sale. I don't know why that section's not sold out yet, but it better be soon. Again, like the video if you enjoyed it. If you're on Spotify, make sure you subscribe. Same thing with YouTube. We're on both. I don't know if we're gonna keep it to both right now, but we'll see. I think Spotify's been fun. We're gonna keep it with YouTube for sure. We'll keep going with some stuff. It'll be enjoyable there. But
trying to get onto Apple, it's a little more complicated.
Apple's a little tough, but Spotify's still
working
there.
On it.
But
sorry, Dan. I know you're an Apple podcast guy.
I use both, personally speaking, but that's just
I'm an Apple podcast guy.
No free ads.
No free ads.
Unless Apple sponsor.
Apple sponsor.
I need a new phone.
Hashtag not sponsored.
I mean, hey, my iPhone 13 says otherwise. That being said, thank you all for tuning in. We will see you all very soon for the first ever weekend review. Thank you all and have a very great night.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.